Is it a mustache? Is that too much? I think it's time to chop it. Oh yeah, much better. Now I know Gamers Nexus already beat us to the first parody. I figured I would actually take the time in this video to explain in detail how sponsored video spots really work. They tend to be controversial at best. I mean, ouch. And this comes with the stigma of paid promotions in general. Dedicated videos almost always feel forced to some extent, so I usually try to include a giveaway or two, as I've done in the past. But when you see a dozen or so large tech channels uploading the exact same vacuum video with, twists for each channel, you gotta wonder what went on behind the scenes. So this is how sponsored videos work. The Be Quiet Dark Base 700 brings luxury and silence to the mainstream. Luxury thanks to subtle RGB integration, full case modularity, and even USB Type-C support. And silence thanks to 3 included Silent Wings 3 fans and sound damping foam all around. Click the link in this video's description for more details. When a company reaches out to you, typically via email, it's the first form of communication, with a proposition, they will tend to keep it rather vague. In fact, most of them won't even use the word sponsored. If they do, it's usually some unethical request like this one here. I've even blurred the sender's name and product because I'm not really here to point fingers. But this is essentially a request for a paid review. More on my feelings about that right here. So this is the first step, the outreach. Usually companies send these emails out en masse, hoping for a few bites early on. They can usually get them for pretty cheap too. And if they don't receive the interest they're looking for, they'll send a second wave of emails with a money pitch like this one here. The first email was a general email forwarded to several tech tubers, and as if promoting an ad blocker wasn't shady enough for a tech tuber, this company proceeded to ask just a few days later what my rate would be for a sponsored video. I of course declined. Now, to be fair, smaller companies are usually the ones taking this approach. The big ones like Dyson usually cut straight to the point. They want you, they're gonna let you know that they do. And for channels with millions of subscribers, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. Some of you would be blown away by how much money some of these ads run for. I see nothing wrong with it so long as they're disclosed appropriately. So if Linus gets paid $50,000 for an ad spot, good for him, as long as he's upfront and honest about the fact that it is an ad. Paid video spots meant to look like reviews or honest opinions are the ones that I would regard as shady. And everyone seems to have a slightly different stance on this. With my Intel Optane video, for example, I had very little wiggle room, and I did disclose up front that this was paid. They wanted things presented in a very specific way. I actually had a script, and that's how some companies choose to run things on the YouTube side. I prefer not to have a script, but if they want that, hey, they're paying, right? They're my boss. So it's ultimately their say so. But with that said, there comes a point when promoting certain products, ergo vacuum cleaners, gets a bit carried away. I mean, no one wants to see 10 vacuum videos uploaded within the same 1 hour time span from 10 big tech tubers. It's just distasteful. I don't think the marketing strategy there was that sound. Not really the fault of the YouTubers, more or less the fault of Dyson, who saw the need to bombard viewers with concurrent non-subliminal advertising. But that's how negotiations typically play out. Said company requests a full-length ad and will usually provide a little leadway for creativity. They don't want all of their videos to be exactly the same. Everyone would get tired of them after the first or second view, and you would have a really negative response. After the video has been produced, it's sent to the company for final revisions and approval, and then the publishing date is set. See, because we're being paid, they're in charge, so we have to run the videos by them for final approval before we can finally publish them for all of you to watch. We're essentially contractors. In the same way, we're also contractors for YouTube. That's a separate point, but you get the gist. The cool companies leave it open for you to decide how to present the product. In the case of Dyson, right? Linus decided to mesh it with his studio tour. Makes sense. You don't want the whole video to be about a vacuum cleaner because that's just not like Linus Tech Tips. And you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That actually says 2 birds with 1 phone. Who wrote this? Hardware Canucks took a different approach. They decided to talk about the various applications and performance, more or less like a downright review or showcase, which I guess is cool, but when you're not used to doing many vacuum reviews on a tech channel, they can be misconstrued, and people don't tend to appreciate content that's out of the norm. I know I've tried that with car videos. So when these videos are uploaded to the platform, we are required to select the paid promotion button, which is usually a trigger for many people to automatically dislike the video, and that's completely fine. You have the right to do that, but we do also have the obligation to disclose, so it's not like we can really help it. I don't expect much of what you've heard here to be new or enlightening. In fact, most of what you've probably heard here, you've heard repeated in other videos videos as well, but I at least want you guys to appreciate the fact that my colleagues were transparent about their agreements with Dyson. Most also refrained from turning it into a paid review, which is a no-no in my book. If you like the skit, maybe like the video, the content, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. We appreciate it. Thumbs down for the opposite. Click subscribe button if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more content like this. This is Science Studio. Thanks for selling out with this. I'm just kidding. Well, yeah, I'm not really kidding. You do kind of sell out, but you gotta sell out in style.